You're about to discover the most powerful psychological weapon that's been hidden from you your entire life. A weapon so devastating, so simple, yet so counterintuitive that most men will never master it. You see, nothing, and I mean nothing, disarms a woman more completely than a man who simply doesn't care. You've been there, haven't you? Bent over backwards trying to please her, changing your plans at her whim, apologizing for things that weren't even your fault. Watching your dignity crumble as you desperately tried to maintain her approval. You felt that crushing weight in your chest when she threatens to leave, that panic when she withdraws affection, that desperation when she tests your boundaries. And every time you reacted, every time you showed that you cared, you handed her another piece of your power. But what if I told you that Machiavelli figured out the antidote to this poison over 500 years ago? What if I told you that the secret to absolute power in any relationship isn't in what you do, it's in what you don't feel? Today, you're going to learn why emotional neutrality isn't just a defense mechanism. It's your path to becoming untouchable, unshakable, and ultimately unforgettable. The pain you've experienced from caring too much, from investing too deeply, from reacting too emotionally, that ends today. Because once you master the art of not caring, you become something more powerful than attractive. You become fascinating. You become the one thing no woman can resist, a mystery she can't solve, a man she can't control. Let me pull back the curtain on something you've experienced, but probably never fully understood. Women don't seduce just for pleasure or connection. They seduce to establish control. Every batting of eyelashes, every touch on your arm, every whispered compliment is a thread in a web designed to entangle your emotions and, by extension, your behavior. You've felt these weapons deployed against you. The sudden coldness when you don't comply with her wishes. The tears that appear at convenient moments. The threats, subtle or explicit, of other men who are interested in her. The withdrawal of affection when you stand your ground. These aren't random emotional responses. They're calculated strikes designed to create an emotional reaction in you. And here's where you've been failing. Every time you reacted, whether with anger, jealousy, desperation, or compliance, you confirmed that her weapons work. You showed her exactly where your buttons are and gave her a roadmap to your emotional control panel. You literally trained her in how to manipulate you. Think about the last time a woman gave you the silent treatment. What did you do? If you're like most men, you probably tried to fix it. You asked what was wrong. You apologized for things you didn't even do. You bought flowers, sent long texts, promised to change. And with every action, you broadcasted your weakness. Your emotions control my behavior. Now, let me introduce you to the most powerful concept Machiavelli understood, the principle of emotional neutrality. This isn't about being a robot or suppressing your feelings. It's about choosing which emotions deserve your investment and which situations warrant your reaction. When you achieve true emotional neutrality, something magical happens. Her tests bounce off you like rain off a windshield. Her provocations meet nothing but calm observation. Her threats of leaving are met with, "I understand. Do what you need to do." Not said with anger or sadness, but with genuine acceptance. You see, women are emotional creatures who navigate the world through feeling. When they encounter a man who doesn't operate on their emotional frequency, it's like a fish encountering a bird. They literally don't know how to process it. Their entire playbook becomes useless. I've watched this play out countless times. A woman throws a tantrum, expecting the usual male response, either angry confrontation or desperate appeasement. Instead, she's met with, "I can see you're upset. I'll give you some space to process this." No emotion, no judgment, just observation and boundary. The look of confusion on her face is priceless. It's like watching someone try to start a fire in the rain. Here's what separates the men who master this from those who merely pretend: genuine outcome independence. You can't fake not caring. Women have evolved over millions of years to detect false bravado, fake confidence, and pretend indifference. Their survival depended on accurately reading male emotions. They can smell your fear, sense your neediness, feel your desperation, even when you think you're hiding it. True outcome independence means you're genuinely okay with any result. If she stays, great. If she leaves, also great. If she's happy, wonderful. If she's upset, that's her journey. This isn't nihilism or depression, it's freedom. It's the recognition that your happiness, your purpose, your direction in life isn't dependent on her emotional state or her presence in your life. Think about it this way. You're the captain of a ship heading toward your destination. She's a passenger who chose to board. If she wants to enjoy the journey, fantastic. If she wants to complain about the destination, the speed, or the route, that's her choice. But either way, the ship keeps moving toward its destination. You don't change course because a passenger is unhappy. You don't stop the journey because someone threatens to jump overboard. When you master emotional neutrality, you don't just defend against manipulation, you destroy its very foundation. Manipulation requires emotional investment. It needs you to care about the outcome. It depends on your fear of loss, your need for validation, your desire for her approval. Remove these elements, and manipulation becomes impossible. It's like trying to push a string. There's nothing to push against. When she realizes her emotional provocations aren't creating the desired response, she experiences something most women rarely encounter: powerlessness. I remember coaching a man whose girlfriend would threaten to break up with him every time they had a disagreement. It was her nuclear option, her ultimate manipulation tactic. For years, it worked perfectly. He would panic, apologize, change his position, do anything to prevent her from leaving. Then he learned the art of not caring. The next time she played this card, he simply said, "I respect your decision. Let me know if you need help moving your things." No emotion, no pleading, no anger, just acceptance. She was stunned. She backpedaled immediately, but something had fundamentally shifted. She never used that threat again because she realized it had no power. Here's something that will blow your mind. The less you care, the more she becomes obsessed. This isn't a paradox, it's psychology. Humans are wired to desire what they can't have, to chase what runs from them, to value what's scarce. When you become emotionally unavailable, you become scarce in a world full of emotionally reactive men. Every other man in her life reacts predictably. They get jealous when she mentions other guys, they get angry when she's disrespectful, they get desperate when she pulls away. They're emotional puppets, and she's the puppeteer. Then she meets you, a man whose strings can't be pulled because he cut them long ago. This creates what psychologists call cognitive dissonance. Her experience tells her that all men are emotionally reactive. Your behavior contradicts this belief. To resolve this dissonance, her brain elevates your status. You must be different. You must be special. You must be worth understanding. Let me break down exactly how this looks in practice. She starts an argument about something trivial. Maybe you didn't text her back fast enough, or you made plans without consulting her. Her voice rises, her accusations fly, her emotions spiral. This is the test. This is where 99% of men fail. The typical response: match her energy, get defensive, explain yourself, justify your actions, or worse, apologize for things that don't warrant apology. Every word you speak in emotional reaction is a point scored against you. The master's response: calm observation. I can see this really upset you. No justification, no defense, no matching her emotional energy. You acknowledge her feelings without accepting responsibility for them. You remain centered while she spirals. You become the eye of her emotional hurricane. What happens next is predictable. She'll escalate, trying to get a reaction. This is crucial. The escalation is proof that your neutrality is working. She's used to getting emotional responses, and your lack of reaction is forcing her to up the ante. Stay calm, stay neutral. Let her emotional storm exhaust itself against your immovable presence. Most men lose their dignity in relationships drop by drop. Each time they compromise their values for her approval, each time they apologize for their masculinity, each time they change their authentic self to avoid conflict, another drop of dignity evaporates. The art of not caring is fundamentally about dignity preservation. It's the recognition that no relationship, no woman, no amount of beauty or sex is worth the price of your self-respect. When you internalize this truth, not just intellectually but in your bones, you become unshakable. You see, dignity isn't negotiable. It's not something you trade for affection or peace. It's the foundation of your being. When she realizes you won't negotiate your dignity, won't auction off pieces of your self-respect for her approval, she faces a choice: respect your boundaries or leave. Either outcome is acceptable because you've preserved what matters most: your integrity. In most relationships, men orbit around women. Their mood depends on her mood. Their plans revolve around her availability. Their happiness hinges on her approval. They've made her the center of their universe, and then they wonder why she has so much power over them. When you master not caring, you shift the center of gravity back to yourself. You become the sun, not the planet. Your mood is your own. Your plans are your own. Your happiness comes from within. If she wants to orbit around you, she's welcome. If she wants to fly off into space, you wish her well on her journey. But either way, you remain centered. This isn't selfishness, it's self-possession. It's the understanding that you can't give from an empty cup, and you can't lead from a position of weakness. By maintaining your center, you actually become more valuable to her. Women don't want to be with a man who needs them. They want to be with a man who wants them but doesn't need them. Let me paint you a picture of the pivotal moment when everything changes. She's pulled out all the stops. The tears are flowing. The accusations are flying. She's threatening to leave, to find someone who actually cares about her, someone who will fight for the relationship. This is her final assault, her emotional Normandy, her last attempt to break through your defenses. In the past, this would have worked. You would have crumbled. You would have pleaded, promised to change, sworn that you do care, that she means everything to you. You would have handed over your power on a silver platter, grateful that she was giving you another chance. But not this time. This time, you remain calm. Your breathing is steady. Your voice is level. You look her in the eye and say, "I understand you're upset. If you feel you'd be happier with someone else, I won't stand in your way. I want what's best for you, even if that's not me." Watch what happens in this moment. It's like watching a computer crash. Her operating system can't process this response. Where's the desperation? Where's the fear? Where's the emotional reaction she's counting on? For perhaps the first time in her life, she's encountering a man who's truly willing to let her go. The tears might stop. The anger might shift to confusion. She might even accuse you of never caring about her at all. But underneath all of that, something fundamental is shifting. She's realizing that her most powerful weapons, emotional manipulation, the threat of abandonment, the promise of withdrawal, have no effect on you. This is the moment of collapse. Not her collapse as a person, but the collapse of the power dynamic she's relied on, the collapse of her control, the collapse of your predictability. In this moment, you transform from a man she could control to a man she must respect. But here's what they don't tell you. It doesn't end there. When a woman realizes her usual tactics aren't working, she doesn't just give up. She intensifies. The tests become more creative, more subtle, more sophisticated. She might try jealousy, parading other men's interest in front of you. She might try vulnerability, sharing deep emotional pain to trigger your protector instinct. She might even try seduction, using sex as a weapon to lower your defenses. Each of these is a test of your mastery. Can you maintain your emotional neutrality when she's crying about her past? Can you stay centered when she mentions how her ex wants her back? Can you remain outcome independent even in the bedroom? The answer must be yes. Not because you're heartless, but because you understand that these are still forms of manipulation, still attempts to find your emotional buttons. You can be compassionate without being controlled. You can be loving without being leveraged. You can be sexual without being subjugated. Here's where the magic happens. When she finally accepts that you truly don't care, not in a bitter, resentful way, but in a peaceful, centered way, the entire dynamic reverses. Suddenly, she's the one working for your approval. She's the one initiating affection. She's the one worried about losing you. Why? Because you've become the one thing she can't have through manipulation, authentic. You've become the one man who values his peace more than her presence. You've become the challenge she can't conquer, the mystery she can't solve, the mountain she can't move. This isn't about winning or losing, it's about becoming. When you master the art of not caring, you don't just change how she sees you, you change who you are. You become a man who can love without needing, give without depleting, and stay without surrendering. Here's the beautiful irony. When you truly don't care, you become capable of caring in the right way. When you're not afraid of losing her, you can love her freely. When you're not desperate for her approval, you can appreciate her genuinely. When you're not controlled by her emotions, you can support her authentically. This is the paradox that most men never understand. They think caring means being emotional, reactive, and sacrificial. But real caring comes from strength, not weakness. It comes from choosing to be there, not needing to be there. It comes from wanting her happiness, even if that happiness doesn't include you. So now you understand the secret that Machiavelli knew centuries ago. Now you see why every time you reacted emotionally, every time you let her moods control yours, every time you sacrificed your dignity for her approval, you were giving away your throne piece by piece. The man who masters the art of not caring doesn't do it because he's cold or heartless. He does it because he understands that emotional sovereignty is the foundation of genuine power. When you can sit unmoved while she creates emotional chaos, when you can remain centered while she tries every manipulation in her arsenal, when you can maintain your direction regardless of her threats or promises, that's when you become truly powerful. Think about the most powerful men throughout history. Did they let others' emotions control their decisions? Did they change their path based on someone else's tears or tantrums? No. They remained centered in their purpose, focused on their mission, unmoved by the emotional storms around them. You've learned today that not caring isn't about being cruel or indifferent to suffering. It's about being selective with your emotional investment. It's about recognizing that your peace is more valuable than any relationship. It's about understanding that a woman who truly values you will respect your boundaries, not constantly test them. The real question is, are you ready to reclaim your throne? Can you sit in the discomfort of her emotional storms without being moved? Can you face the threat of loss without flinching? Can you value your peace more than her presence? Here's what I want to know. Have you experienced the power of not caring? Have you ever remained calm during her emotional storm and watched how it changed everything? Or are you still trapped in the cycle of emotional reaction, still letting her moods dictate your life? Comment below with your experiences. Tell me about a time when not caring changed the dynamic, or share where you're still struggling. If this video opened your eyes to the emotional manipulation you've been under, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to this channel because I'm revealing the dark psychology that nobody else will teach you. And don't stop here. Check out my previous videos on power dynamics and psychological warfare. Each video builds on the last, creating a complete blueprint for masculine sovereignty. The men who understand these principles don't just survive relationships, they thrive in them. They don't beg for respect, they command it. They don't chase approval, they grant it. Remember this. Machiavelli taught that it's better to be feared than loved, but there's something even more powerful than both: being genuinely indifferent. When you master the art of not caring, you don't just change the game, you transcend it entirely. The throne is waiting. It's always been yours. You just have to stop kneeling long enough to claim it. The crown of emotional sovereignty doesn't go to the man who cares the most. It goes to the man who cares the wisest. Master this distinction, and you master everything. Your indifference isn't cruelty, it's royalty. Your neutrality isn't weakness, it's strength. Your calm isn't suppression, it's power. The choice is yours. Keep reacting, keep caring, keep handing over your power every time she pushes your buttons. Or master the art of not caring and watch as the entire dynamic transforms. Watch as she transforms from your emotional puppeteer into someone who respects your strings can't be pulled. The art of not caring isn't just a strategy, it's a lifestyle. It's the recognition that your emotional state is your responsibility and yours alone. It's the understanding that true love comes from wholeness, not neediness. It's the wisdom to know that the man who needs nothing is the man who can have everything. Master this art, and when you don't just win the game, you stop playing it altogether. And that, gentlemen, is where true power lies.